Daniel Siniceros. I'm the CEO of Connect Media. Thank you all for joining us at our 5th annual Connect Inland Empire. 5 years is it's a special year for us this year. Like I said, we won part of the Inc. 5000, and we thought we'd cap it off with keynotes throughout the U.S. And we're very fortunate, extremely fortunate to have this gentleman sitting beside me. But before I introduce, I wanted to give, real estate, you guys are all talking about big numbers, square feet, cap rates, door heights, all these other population, all these other really great numbers, but I'm going to give you some numbers. This person was born in Oklahoma, but raised here in Southern California. Has a degree in real estate and finance from USC. Following graduation, he was an officer in the Marine Corps. He got deployed to Vietnam, wounded, Bronze Star Medal, 2 Purple Hearts. Thank you for your service.
Right. Not smart.
Father served in the United States Navy during World War II, then moved the family to Southern California when he founded Majestic Realty in 1948. Joined Majestic Realty in 1966. In 1970, Majestic developed its first office building and first industrial park, which one of the first is totaling over 700,000 square feet. In the mid-90s, big part in developing the Staples Center, and became part owner in Los Angeles Lakers and Los Angeles Kings. Today, Majestic is over 84 million square feet in portfolio and over 100 employees. Climbed to Mount Everest Base Camp, Mount Kilimanjaro, and K2. Also biked across Mongolia and Russia. And most important, wife Gail, 3 children, and 8 grandchildren. Please join me in welcoming my guest, Ed Roski Jr., President and Chairman of Majestic Realty.
Thank you, sir.
You have tremendous...
They may be questioning my intelligence, right, to start with.
Well, it's great. We talked a lot about, I wanted to start off with your accomplishments, and you and I had met and talked and just had some great conversations. And kind of the question I guess would talk about, you got your degree in real estate and finance at USC. You went to the Marine Corps, Vietnam, and then after you come into real estate. And I know it's part of the family business, but tell me a little bit about you coming into real estate, and then a little bit about what is the day in the life of Ed Roski look like today?
Well, fortunately, every day's just a little bit different. I think that's probably why most of us are in the business. Every day we get up, we don't know exactly what that day's going to bring. We don't know exactly when we pick up the phone what the challenge is going to be. I think we probably live for those challenges. And sometimes if it seems too easy, we go out there and create a few more challenges just so we can have some more excitement. But no, I think the quick answer is that I think that's one of the reasons that we're all in this business, and that it's extremely challenging. And every day we're working on something new and different, and with different individuals. And it's really when you compare our business and the real estate business and to other opportunities that maybe we would have had, growing up and working in a manufacturing plant or doing something like this, with our personalities, we'd probably be really bored real quickly and maybe even asked to leave. But I think that's, every day that in our business we get up, we're challenged and we're excited about it, and I think that's what keeps us in this business.
And real estate, your
Well, I was talking about the real estate.
So, when we were talking about the keynote part of it, I was sitting at lunch with Terry Thompson of the county, and he was mentioning they had a meeting with some of your execs on Friday afternoon, and he was saying that it's about 4 o'clock on a Friday, and in the real estate world, I know most people are on the golf course or done for the week. But in your office, there's no casual Fridays, everybody was in suit and ties, and they were working to 4:30.
Most everybody. No.
Most of everybody.
Yeah.
That's a little bit about, you set the culture, it's top down. Talk a little bit about that culture and talk a little bit about that personal strategy in your driver.
Well, I think the idea of the company, which was, as you mentioned, was started by my father, was that it would be the employees and the partners and everything in the company would really be a family, and the company's always operated as that. Not that it's somewhat of a flat organization, so everybody has a say in the projects. Everybody contributes to them, and and being private, gives us that ability to really, take advantage of comments and challenges and make decisions quickly, and that's been, I think, one of the things which has always attracted me, and I think has attracted the individuals that are in the company.
So you've biked across Mongolia and Russia. Tell me a little bit about your biking experience now.
Well, I don't. It's just I've always maybe I've always been interested in what's happening out in the world, and I've tried to take advantage of the ability to get to areas that are maybe somewhat off the beaten path, and so I've taken advantage of those opportunities, whether it's 3 times to Everest and to do K2 and all the mountains and the jungles, and then I was just talking about a recent trip I had been quite a few times to Papua New Guinea, and which is still probably one of the most remote places on our planet, and into the jungles and some of the tribal areas there, anything like this. And we'd been out in the jungle for about 5 days, and we got back down to the beach, and we were waiting for a boat to come in to pick us up. And Papua New Guinea's pretty remote, and there's a gentleman who's walking down the beach, again with boar's tusks through his nose, paint a little bit on himself, walking down the beach on a cell phone. And you were talking in the panel just before this, the things that have changed, and that's part of the world that we're living in. We used to go on these expeditions, and you were gone for a long time, and then all of a sudden we got these satellite phones, which were like carrying a shoebox around, and then it just kept developing and into the cars. And you were talking earlier about some of the panel members that you had up here, and the main change is that we have is instantaneous communications. I mean, how much each of us today have reached in our pocket, pulled out our cell phone, and it's had a note to us or a statement or wanting a question answered, and we all get these remote calls every once in a while that are somewhat disruptive, but just think of the amount of communications that we have instantaneous right now. Yeah.
How many here people out in the audience own a Peloton? Anybody here own a Peloton? 1, 2, there's a few. Don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Ed owns a Peloton. He rides every morning.
Yeah.
He rides up every morning, telling me all about it. Made me want to go out and buy one.
Yeah.
So,
Well, it's just things that change.
yep. I mean, you're in your bedroom riding a bike with
Yeah.
800 other people.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, but traffic has gotten a little bit tougher in Southern California. It's a little bit safer in there. Excuse me.
So, speaking about Southern California, you're so instrumental in developing the Staples Center, and then being part of Lakers and Kings. Tell us, what are some of those favorite moments in that part of your career?
Well, around about, we are developers basically. We like to buy property and build it and retain ownership. So we're basically in the development business, but that development business has led us into a number of different areas also that we've benefited from. One was the Staples Center, not maybe in with the Kings and the Lakers, and get back to that. But we got into the casino business by buying a piece of property up in Vegas that we're going to do an industrial park, and somebody came along and said, well, maybe it'd be great to be a casino, and we did the casino business and built that, still have it, and put a Bass Pro in there, and just finished another 400-unit timeshare unit there, and a new Hyatt there, and having the regular things. But it all started with with a piece of real estate. Same thing, we got involved into Fort Worth at the stockyards, which is again, we have cattle drives, 2 cattle drives a day with longhorn, cattle and cowboys and rodeos and Billy Bob's, the world's largest honky tonk, and all again started with just a real estate deal. And that's how we basically got involved at Staples. We had a piece of property downtown known as the cornfield we had bought from the railroad, and we were going to do an industrial development on it, and the city had other ideas and thought maybe the other uses would maybe be more beneficial. We thought the industrial would be great, bring jobs to the area, and that it would be a real benefit to that area. But we went along for a couple of years pursuing that, and then came up with the idea that, maybe one of the things which we lacked in Los Angeles, that we had 2 of the oldest arenas in the business. And one was the sports arena, which the Clippers were in, of course, and the other was the Lakers and the Kings with Jerry Buss out at the Forum. And being naive, and I thought, well, I'll just go and talk with them and see if we can interest them in doing an arena in downtown Los Angeles, that it would really, we were able to put that together, it would really bring some changes to the area, because up till then, we all know, we've all grown up here, that at 5 o'clock at night, everybody left downtown Los Angeles. But if we thought that there was a market for it, so I started to negotiate with Bruce McNall, who owned the Kings, but was a tenant with Jerry, and Jerry owned, of course, the Lakers and the Forum, and Don Sterling, of course, owned the Clippers and was at the sports arena. So that was about a 3 or 4 year long negotiations, and with some unique individuals who were a lot of fun, but to talk to, and I always had the theory that it would be great for them to get into a new arena and for business, and better for the family. But as we all know, that Jerry owned the Forum at the time. And so again, we had this piece of property, and they were going to proceed to maybe build a new arena down there. Got informed, talking with them, etc., along the way, and then had the opportunity to, because Bruce had some challenges, went to actually buy the Kings through bankruptcy, and again with a lesson that we've all learned being in the real estate business. And I called Jerry up on the phone and he said, well, we're able to buy the Kings. And he said, great, that you and Phil will be great partners, and really we can really make this really a booming business out there and everything like this. And I said, well, okay, Jerry, I want to come out and talk to you. So I went out to him in the afternoon that we had bought it. And Jerry's office was underneath the forum, and you kind of walked in, and he kind of was up on a little raised up thing. His desk was up there, and because you sat down, you kind of looked up, and there were the trophies behind behind him. And of course, I knew him, been friends for a while, and I said, yeah. He said, well, great, Ed, you would be great partners, and you could really spend some money and get this thing going. And I know it's a long story, but I said, well, Jerry, I've got to tell you something. I said, yeah. He said, well, it is. You guys would be really great. I said, well, when we bought the Kings, we disavowed the lease. Okay. And all of a sudden, Jerry kind of stopped. And, this happened to all of us in our real estate history. And he stopped and he says, Ed, he said, let's talk about this new arena. And so he stood up and we shook hands, and he is such a great guy. He never let the attorneys or anybody ever change the deal from our original deal when we went down. Of course, we were able then to convince him and the city to proceed with doing the what we call now a Staples Center down there. It's actually on land that's owned by the city. We own the land that's owned by the LA Live. But it was, again, another project that started with just a piece of vacant land, in which we've all, seen in our business. It's morphed into other businesses and other opportunities. That's a long story to how we ended up at Staples, and it really, it wasn't the only thing, but as we all know in our business, it really has maybe helped change the skyline in downtown Los Angeles, where now people are living there.
I think it's done more than change the skyline. I think it's completely changed downtown Los Angeles.
It really is. And a lot of other things have changed, but I mean, that was really kind of the first, I think, part of it that kind of,
Well, I think there's a lot of people out there that talk about, being the starting point of changing downtown, but I think you honestly did change downtown by building the Staples Center, moving both of prolific sports franchises down there. But let's talk a little about developing. So you've developed across the U.S., but let's talk. We're here in the Inland Empire. Talk a little bit about what's unique about this market. Talk about where you think it's going.
Well, we've all benefited in this room right here tremendously from, quote, the Inland Empire and the coining of that phrase. But, it's been great, and we're still developing and building, which was mentioned. And I thought the panels that you had today were fantastic. They really were. Learned a lot, and everybody's thoughts on other areas. And, it's been just a great area to do development in. The land was here to take advantage of. The cities were very, very cooperative. The state was very, very cooperative. And so everybody in this room has had a good run of it and really enjoyed it. As it was mentioned in a couple of the panels before, have we really gotten to, the goal line here? Are we out as far as we can go? We have a big project out, the Freeway Business Center out there that we're developing now, but how much further out do we go? How much further out can we go? That is causing some challenges from all of us. And he was mentioning the price of the land out here. And he was mentioning $50 a foot. Okay, I can remember back in the times when it was 50 cents a foot, and everybody thought that was maybe too much. It was hard to develop. But one of the things that we've seen in Los Angeles, and this just in time moving into this back into the city has been very, very beneficial. Is that because of some of the challenges, and they were mentioned in a couple of your panels, with the political situation and the challenges in California. One of our busiest cities right now is Phoenix, and it's busy because of Southern California companies that have chosen to expand to Phoenix. Now, we're not losing everybody, and everybody's still looking. We're all still doing deals, but some of these changes that we've made in California has kind of got companies really thinking about, and how can they get employees? How can the employees afford to live here? And so I think was one of the things which we all in this room have to be active in is active in Sacramento and active in our cities, and really communicate with them, the value that these developments bring, and is something we probably have all, been remiss in, and we need to really pick that up. And I think Mr. Lewis really did some good comments on that.
So let's switch gears to you a little bit. Philanthropy has been an important part of your life. Support a lot of these different causes are very important. You have a lot of stuff within the military and a lot of other different things that you give towards. Talk a little bit about what that means to you.
Well, we all live here. Our children are still here. Our grandchildren are here. I think, for us in the philanthropy in Southern California is really a way for us to really benefit, our family, our personal families, our company families, and it's something that I think from the real estate side, the real estate people have always been, I think, very active in philanthropy, and whether it's all the different organizations we belong to and the different areas that we support. I think it's part of our DNA. I think each one of us in this room and the ones who were here talking before, it's really part of our DNA. It's what we think that we need to do, to give back to our community and to the individuals in our community that we can help. And so I've been really proud of all the different real estate organizations and the amount of time and effort that they spend, but more today than has been in the past, really working at really making this a place that everybody can succeed in.
There's Veterans Day was yesterday, obviously, and we said thank you for your service. Is there any charity that near and dear to your heart that you want to mention to the group?
No, we're pretty active, and yesterday we have a foundation called the Land of the Free that started about 13 years ago, as our 12th one yesterday. And just to make a point, we have a one-day tournament, and yesterday we raised $1,200,000 in a one-day tournament for all the. I think there's 14 different veterans charities, and it's and it shows in with tremendous support from the real estate community, construction community, anything like this, that shows that companies today are are very interested in philanthropy and giving back, and where it was mentioned, on the idea of education and what we can do to continue to keep raising our standard of living here and opportunities for everyone. But it's something that, the real estate industry has always been the forefront of it. It really has done a good job, and I think we're all going to pledge to continue doing that.
Well, I mean, we at Connect Media, what we like to give out is what we call the Landscape Award. Obviously, you're still working and you're still very busy with the company every day, so we'd like to honor you with the Connect Media Lifetime Achievement Landscape Award for outstanding contribution to commercial real estate and really changing the landscape of California commercial real estate.
Thank you.
So we're going to ask one. I wanted to give him that, but I just wanted to. Any last words? Real estate, like we talked about, it's been a good run over the last few years since the end of the recession, and a lot of people are coming into real estate. You actually were at USC when they had a real estate and finance program.
That's right. I actually got my degree in real estate.
In real estate, where they don't have that anymore. So, I mean, that's a graduate program. Give some advice to people that that are coming into the business, and some of the people that are in the middle of their careers. Tell us a little bit about some final words from you.
I think because it is a real exciting business, I think you have to be willing to make a 100% commitment. If you're going to come into business, it's not a business that you can work part-time in, at least in the income side of the business. So I think you have to make that decision right at the start that this is going to be the business that you're going to be in, and you got to commit to it 100%. And you've got to, again, there's as you mentioned when we started here, there's no, 8 to 5 hours or anything like this. We all work, and really it's so when I think about it, I try to explain to some of the people that are coming into new to the business, really what a great opportunity to be in a business that you can, on a daily basis, be extremely creative, because none of us would exist unless we're creative, and it's constantly creating and rechanging ourselves, getting involved into new projects. So when somebody starts to join the business, I say, look, make sure that this is a field that you want to go into. The negative is in our business is that most of our knowledge is that we gain in the business is not really transferable to other businesses. So we're going to not take our business and go into the restaurant business or go into other things. So when you make that decision to be in our business, you make it that you're going to be here for your whole business career, and you're going to devote 100% of your interest to that. So that's one of the few things that we talk about.
Well, Ed, you've devoted 100% of your time to your family, this business, to the military, to everything. Please join me in thanking my guest, Ed Roski Jr., for his time.
Thank you, Earl. Thank you. Thank you, Brad. Thank you.